So once again, I've been online because I guess I'm putting off the housework. I guess I'm sorry about that, baby. Like anyway, um, but I just got into reading this document, and it says it's about that thing they claim happened where like all those 6 million people died. That's not what happened. It was like 8 million. They were far more thorough than that, to be fair. But I thought it would be helpful if I talked to everyone through the article so everyone can understand why you might draw false comparisons from it and why just you shouldn't be sucked in by that. It's a red herring. It is. But anyway, let's get into it. So, I was watching the lefties talk online and they were talking about how the Nazis were they were bad because, they targeted like gay men and lesbians and stuff, as you can see here. Gay people in Nazi Germany. Um, I mean, like that, even though I know lots of gay people, like that's arguable, right? Because it's not like they can like have children, right? And if everyone became like that, then we'd all die out. Like that would be it, right? So you can tolerate a little bit of that, but not too much. Like you need to keep the numbers under control, right? I mean, it says here like that male homosexuality was illegal in Germany, but like it says here that that there was like actually tolerance and like it wasn't really persecuted, like prosecuted at any point. That's hugely tolerant, like just because it was illegal, and it only ended in 1933, like so that lasted a long time. You can see here that it says the Nazis, they promoted traditional family roles, distinct gender roles for men and women. I mean, I don't believe in gender roles. They're just men and women, and like everyone knows those words have like XX and XY DNA in them. And they encourage women to have a lot of children, which Trump is doing, admittedly, but not for Nazi reasons. Like, it's because there are too many brown and black children being born, and all of the European originating people, they might die out. You know, it says here that there were racial ideas about national strength and virility. Well, I mean, like, you can't demonise them just because the Nazis liked them. Those are good ideas. And just because they were hostile to homosexuality, that's just a coincidence, right? I mean, it says false ideas about race. Well, that's arguable. I mean, like, I'm European and I know what race I am, the European race, which are white. And they're talking about healthy Aryan babies. Well, I think they're trying to imply, publishing it in the modern context, that, that's what maybe people like Elon want. But they don't want Aryan babies, they just want white ones, yeah? It's not the same thing. It says that the murder of them was desirable because they hindered efforts to breed a dominant racially strong nation. And, like, I don't agree with the murder, but, like, they have a point, surely. Yeah, I mean, like this whole thing published on this, like, clearly anti-Semitic website, which apparently was written by some like pro-Jewish organisation, but I don't believe that, right? Because it's just talking about war crimes, like they're actually crimes, and that's not pro-Israel or Jew. But yeah, I mean, like they're talking about women being incarcerated on the grounds of lesbianism. Well, how do we know they weren't trans men, eh? Eh? Yeah, exactly. Like they might have been doing the right thing. We weren't alive back then to know for sure. And it says like in the camps like that some were held under Section 175 homosexuality. And again, I'm sure this was just a misinterpretation. Like I'm sure if they looked in their underwear, they didn't have the right parts. They can't have done, or they wouldn't have targeted them because just because something's right wing, like, it doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. And even though I'm left wing, I've got to admit that, and so does everyone else. Yeah, I mean, like, you can see this document here. Oh, it says he was incarcerated. Well, I mean, like, it was dangerous out in public. It says people were angry, right? It was probably just to keep him safe. Yeah, I just feel like this whole issue of like the Nazis has been really overblown. They say here that, like, women who didn't confirm with the Nazi idea about the role of women, like, being focused on the home and children, like, that they were punished. I don't agree that they were punished. It's more like guidance, Imagine, like, there was that institute, the Hirschfeld, I think, Sexuality Institute. And like that was misleading people. They were making people transgender by like offering them the ability to get help with being transgender. If they hadn't have had that help, they wouldn't have been transgender. Obviously, if you just take all the help away, that solves the problem. Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, this is just hateful, really. Hateful. And using the excuse that Nazis thought it to justify the hate. But it doesn't justify it, does it? Because, a lot of what they were saying was common sense. Just because they did some bad things, it doesn't mean everything they did was bad. Surely, like, you can have a nugget of something good in a mass. Anyway. So I hope that really clarified. Like, they draw these comparisons, but you can see, like, not true, is it? Nothing like them. You know, these people are imaginative and they need help. Like committal, or like, those places Trump keeps sending people in El Salvador, like, a bit of discipline, a bit of a diet, that'll sort them out. Like, just overindulged, That's it. Not like us. Like, our needs are genuine, and our beliefs are genuine. Theirs, just right wing bilge, That's it. Against us, the left. We have to stand firm, stand back, and stand by.